What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype. This is episode 377. The Paul Skenes debut patch has been pulled by an 11-year-old. It's going to Fanatics Collect. We're going to discuss that, along with Mahomes back at it, three-peat. Is he the greatest of all time? We're also going to look at some of his card sales. Plus, we got Series 1, 2025, checklist details, that and more. Guys, if you're breaking on Mojobreak.com, we've got a great discount code for you. Use code HOOPS. B-Ball10 on Mojobreak.com to get into your basketball breaks at 10% off. And that's a one-time only code. So make sure you get in there now and grab your teams up or grab your spots at Mojobreak.com. Man, it's been a fun time. It's a little cold out here in Santa Clara, but we know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about that later. How are the games? I mean, how did you guys like the games this weekend?
Let's see. The Eagles put up a 55 burger.
Yep.
I think the Commanders really wish that the Rams would have beat the Eagles. I think they would have enjoyed that because they got boat raced. Not even close. Not even close.
Even close. But Jaden Daniels, I think, improved his stock personally. I don't think he did anything wrong in the game. I think he made.
Well, he didn't win.
4 turnovers.
Could have done
not
more.
by him.
He could have done more. Could have done more. But you got to be more than one player on a team to make it happen. And the Chiefs, they not only are they the Niners' daddy, but they're also the Bills' daddy.
More so, they're 2 times.
No, they're both
two times.
They're both daddies. Both daddies.
Look, at this point, they're the NFL's daddy right now.
Yeah.
I think this is where I'm firmly landing, and we'll get more into Mahomes, Chiefs, and all that, but. Like, let's just put everything to rest. I know the referee, and I think I even said on a previous episode, this will be more annoying than ever when they do make it in. But they also did just have a playoff run where, there was some ref stuff in the Texans game. There wasn't really much in Sunday's game. Yeah, the Josh Allen first, maybe should it have been a first down on the tush or the tush push or him trying to hop over the line. Yeah, but to me, when it's like, if literally 1 inch is the deciding factor of like, oh, that inch could have gone this way or that way, that just tells me it's 2 really good teams going at it, and at the end of it, like
this and I'm gonna piggyback on your take, and I know it's not going to be a popular one, but you know what? I'm literally tired of going on Twitter, Instagram, X, and just seeing Mahomes making out with the refs, and the refs screwed the guy's won 3 in a row. He's been to 7 AFC championships.
Won 2 in a row.
Well, Chiefs, mark it down. Chiefs are winning this game. They're beating the Eagles.
They
but
probably are.
The guy's done it.
But
The guy's done it for 3 years. He's been to the AFC championship 7 straight years. He's going for his 4th title. And how, if you think the refs have guided him along the way, then to you, football is wrestling, and you either watch it or you don't anymore. And I guarantee you, like you told me when we talked earlier today, these same people are going to tune in next year.
Yeah.
They're going to tune in and watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's pretty remarkable what Mahomes has done with the weapons that are surrounding him. Hollywood Brown just came back, but probably considered their number 1, but I don't think he would be considered a number 1 on many teams. D-Hop, an old D-Hop,
yep.
who is good, but D-Hop isn't the D-Hop that he was in, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
No.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Word, really?
Shell of his Steeler self.
Yeah. Even Kelsey.
This is the worst season he's had.
I think Kelsey's best football years are behind him. But the one common denominator is that they still win. It doesn't matter who is on the team. Patrick Mahomes wins football games. Patrick Mahomes wins championships.
Yep. And
Patrick Mahomes is on a pathway to be the greatest football player ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I'm taking the stance of I want the Chiefs to win because they have beaten the Niners twice in the Super Bowl.
They're daddies.
I don't want the Eagles to be like, we got them. We're the ones that did it.
Oh, and then indirectly being the Niners daddies at that point?
Correct. And
look,
I compare it to the Jazz. Jazz couldn't beat Michael Jordan.
Like the music?
No, Utah Jazz, Karl Malone, John
3-4.
Stockton. They had a great team in those late mid '90s. They had a great team. Probably would have won some championships, but they had Michael Jordan to get through, and they didn't. And Michael Jordan's the GOAT. So Jazz fans are like, hey, we had a good team, but we were playing in the era of the GOAT. That's it.
Yeah. That's what Josh Allen could say. That's what a lot of guys could say. You're right. Look, I know we probably got a few listeners maybe in the Philadelphia era, so I will apologize before I say this. The last thing I need is for Philadelphia fans to have just a little something extra to brag about. That is the last thing. And I'm not just talking Niner fans. I'm talking about the entirety of the NFL. The last thing we all need is something that the Philadelphia Eagles fans can brag about. We don't need that in our lives.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to beat Kansas City.
It's going to be really, really tough.
Can it happen? Anything can happen.
Sure.
Anything can happen. Better make sure you got a 3-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And even that, we've seen the best teams. We saw one really good team that didn't really matter with the New England Patriots. So, at a certain point, it just becomes undeniable, and that's what's happening right now with the Kansas City Chiefs and with Patrick Mahomes specifically. All the talk of conspiracies, this or refs that, or I'm not watching.
I'll tell you right now,
you're watching.
Philly loses, and there's going to be a questionable call, and that will be the narrative of why KC won, and there will be outrage.
But if it's easy to say this when it's like you see this team win so many times of like, oh, that's why they got it that time. We saw it with the Warriors here locally. How many times?
But we also saw it with Brady.
Right, exactly. Because you win so many times, and you're like, oh my God, they always win because of this. But when it's like one team wins one time, guess what? Every team that wins the championship, it's about having a great team. It's about the moment. It's about luck as well. Luck plays such a huge factor in every title that's ever been won. Doesn't matter how good your team is. And every team gets a break. Every team has some luck. So, but to do it over and over and over again, well, that's something entirely different.
Well, and then I don't know who the Eagle fan is who wears the Michael Vick jersey, and he has the little person dressed up as an Eagle, and he's got the Blow the Whistle by Too Short, who's a Bay Area artist, and the song came out over 20 years ago, is now the theme song of the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. Is crazy to me. Can we have our artist back? Can you guys have a Philadelphia artist do this? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, out of all the people, Too Short out of the Bay Area, Raider fan. I don't know.
This also reminds me of like when the constant shifting of who claims "Don't Stop Believing." Detroit
I just talked about this.
Detroit fans think they own it. Los Angeles fans think they own it. Bay Area fans think they own it.
White Sox. Remember there was the White Sox.
There you go. The White Sox. Chicago thinks they own it. There's no right answer for that one. Well, frankly, if I'm going to be biased, I think the Bay Area because you got Steve Perry.
Yeah,
and the Bay Area connection.
Of course.
That
Bay Area,
feels,
the band.
But also, they do mention Detroit.
I think Journey owns it.
I think Journey does own the song.
Journey owns the song. Neil Shona owns the song.
That is the correct answer.
But before we get into some hobby talk, I was also thinking, is this some kind of mind play by the Eagles? Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle for us. Blow the whistle.
Yeah, good call.
We're playing Mahomes.
It can go against you, though. It can be like, blow the whistle, like
for our holding calls.
Blow the whistle because we're going to be
tush pushing.
We're going to be hitting some fools.
Yeah.
We're going to be tush pushing. All right, so new releases. WWE is coming out this week. Topps Chrome WWE. And the first time we've seen some licensed Dwayne Johnson, The Rock autos will be the big chase in the WWE, and Roman Reigns, of course, and lots and lots of others in the sets. And the WWE community is pretty hyped about this. And I think I feel like wrestling, my era, the Attitude Era, the Degeneration X, the Stone Cold era, I felt for me that was the height of wrestling. But I feel like right now wrestling is at like an all-time high with the Netflix stuff. So
it's massive. It is. I don't think you're wrong. I think it's absolutely massive right now. I think part of it too is a few years ago they got a little bit of heat under. They kind of felt the heat from AEW because it was like, whoa, a couple of our guys are going over there. They're getting huge pops. They're getting huge crowds. They're getting huge crowds for their shows, and I think it kind of woke them up a little bit. last couple of WrestleManias have been like, because I was into it as the same era as you guys, and like I'm not like watching it every time, but religiously, but I will tune into the big stuff.
I popped it on.
Yeah, and like last year's WrestleMania was one for the ages. That premiere they had on Netflix was basically a mini WrestleMania that they had. So yeah, it's as big as it's ever been. And this having The Rock in this first time apparently since 1998, he has signed in any wrestling officially licensed wrestling products.
Yeah, I believe they had some Leaf stuff, but I think there was a kind of a weird deal for charity and stuff like that.
So as far as like WWE, when it comes to like, they're still doing the pay-per-view events, right? So WrestleMania and like the Royal Rumble and all that stuff still going to be pay-per-view.
Well, I think now what the deal is, and it has
but is
been
it like
for,
Monday Night Raw?
So
is like Netflix exclusive?
So now, exactly. So it used to be cable on like USA and like TNT for years and stuff like that. But now it's Netflix exclusive for Monday Night Raw. And the pay-per-views now are just, I believe those are Peacock exclusives. And I think also we're going to see some on NBC primetime, some more wrestling events as well on like Saturday nights, which I think is a new thing. But yeah, it's mostly gone away from that when they did that like WWE channel deal where it's like, oh, just you pay this much a year and you'll get all the pay-per-view events. Like, don't worry about paying for them individually. I don't know. I should need to chime in with our wrestling experts.
There's 166 autos in the base set. So
a lot.
You got a lot. You got everybody you'd want.
Yep. I was saying the last guy, obviously The Rock was the biggest holdout, which, by the way, I think we were talking about it today with some of the shipping department of like, where have we seen his autos before? And apparently before this, the last time that he signed in anything was for 2 movie sets that he did. The Scorpion King and Doom, as in the adaptation of the video game Doom that he was in the early 2000s. Signed cards for both of those sets.
I didn't even know they made a Doom movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
apparently Rock was in it.
And The Rock was in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do remember the Scorpion King.
Scorpion King was, because he was in The Mummy too, and then, of course, they did the spinoff and all that. But I was saying the last big wrestling name that feels like a holdout is another guy who's turned into a pretty big actor, Dave Bautista. I don't think he signed anything Panini. Again, if the listeners or viewers correct me if I'm wrong.
John Cena, is he in it?
Cena should be in. Yeah, Cena was signing.
Great actor.
He's very funny.
He's
got
hilarious.
great comedic timing. He was pretty prominent in the Panini stuff. So really, it's Batista's the last sort of holdout. I know he's not wrestling really at all anymore.
And he's like super skinny.
He's got a ton of weight.
Yeah.
So, but I think if they can maybe try to get him for like some throwback ones, I think that would also kind of, because he signs Upper Deck. He signs like some of the Marvel stuff. So he's willing to sign. Just let's see if Topps can maybe get him in. That would be the last holdout.
Yeah, so we'll be breaking that on Fanatics Live and Mojobreak.com on Friday. So if you want to get in on WWE,
and this is
sure to check that out.
This is the first release of the Topps brand.
Yes.
Again.
Once again.
Yeah. So also 2025 Series 1, the checklist is out, and we do have that available at MojobreakShop.com if you want to pre-order boxes. Most notable rookies out the gate would be Dylan Cruz and James Wood. So I think your most expensive team in breaks is going to be the Nationals with those 2 big rookies. But interesting, Paul Skenes is going to have his first follow-back card, and it's not going to be in Big League. It's not going to be in this. It's going to be in Series 1.
Do we get Big League at this point?
I don't know.
If they're throwing that, because that was, to me, the incentive of Big League was like, well, I mean, I guess they've always had Big League, and it's always been a little cheaper, but that made it really fun that it was an extra little incentive especially for the target audience of Big League. I guess not a huge price difference between like Series 1 is still very affordable, and it's only a little more than Big League is.
I don't think Big League's going anywhere.
No, it shouldn't. So maybe they add something else, or they're going to include more follow-back cards in more products, because I think they did kind of spread them out last year.
Yeah, I'm going to see. I wanted to see who else is in that subset as well. So
yeah,
obviously
love to see that. Yeah, and also
big thing is Skenes, but
notable that they are going to go with some of the Fanatics exclusives. They did just reveal Juju Watkins, the USC basketball star. She's going to be in there, so really one of her first like once again doing what they've done with CJ Stroud, what they've done with Wemby, all of these Fanatics exclusives. Like, well, throw them in whatever we can.
She's gonna have
with
autos
baseball.
in there too. Juju.
I need to see about the autos, but yeah, she's got a first pitch card that if you're watching it, you can see right here. I wouldn't be shocked if I'd have to double check the checklist, but I would not be shocked if she's got some autos.
All right, so there's 10 social media follow back redemptions. What we mean by social media follow back is that they are one of your followers now. One of these pro baseball players. You got Kobe Mayo, Frank Thomas. You can see if you can get some Nugenics with that as well.
Hey, thanks for following me. 10% off Nugenics here. Use Big Hurt 10.
Jackson Churio, Jackson Merrill, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, James Wood, Ken Griffey, Paul Skenes, and Reggie Jackson.
That's actually a really good list.
Reggie Jackson.
I was going to say, does Reggie Jackson know how to use social media?
I was going to say, Reggie might be like...
I think he probably has a social media person. Actually, everybody on that list probably has somebody who is managing their social medias.
Reggie's social media team is following you at that point.
Yeah.
That's a good list, though.
It's a pretty good list.
The worst on there is probably Kobe Mayo, who's going to be one of the top rookies to chase in the product.
I was going to say, there's only 2 rookies then, James Wood and Kobe Mayo. So now are we going to get into, this is their social media follow back rookie.
That's a good point. And they've maybe they'll spread out more of those, like Dylan Cruz might be in another one, or Jacob Wilson is going to be in another one or something like that.
Now, I wonder what the verbiage is on that, right? Because, like, say this person that hits it, like, it goes in the wrong hands. They start posting pictures of, stuff that this athlete doesn't want to see because they're going to be on their timeline now, right? You're following them. Does that person follow them back? Do you get, like, is there's kind of stipulations that, no nudity or no aggressive posts that you're posting?
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it is that now that this is happening, like you have to be very, and there's also the guidelines of these social media sites in general. But I think also for the athlete side, there's probably a like, hey, look, you got to follow these guys for at least 120 days.
Yeah, there's probably.
Once you hit that 120, if you want to hit that unfollow, by all means.
So then is it even like, so these are going to, like, let's just say Paul Skenes goes up on eBay for this, right? How much is somebody willing to pay to have Paul Skenes follow him? I $10K?
Yeah. We saw it with
$15K?
what was the Trout one a few years ago, and I think what was it going for? It was like in the 4 to 5 range, I want to say.
Let's see.
Something like that. If I can recall, it's been a while now when I think the first version of this was about 2, maybe even 3 years ago at this point. And I think the Trout was the biggest of that. He was definitely the face of that one.
Definitely was the face of it. And we got him for free. But
I was going to say,
look, just pull a triple logo man and then you could just get him for free. No biggie.
Well, according to Card Ladder, Austin Riley sold for $100. Blake Snell, $150.
Blake Snell, $150.
He's a good follow,
$75 for Aaron Nola. $55, Oscar Colas. Blake Snell sold again. Same one, $192, then resold for $150. Zach Geloff, $40. Will Smith, $95. Man, these seem very undervalued. I need to start buying these up and having all these guys follow me.
Yeah. Now, when they're resold, though, once they're following the first person, like whoever redeems it, basically, that's it, I would imagine.
Yeah, this is like Evan Carter, unredeemed.
Got it.
$120.
Okay.
Unless, $44.
I really thought these were going to be a lot more expensive.
Well, this is now almost like, look, we're going to put it on our marketing hat right now as a company of like, well, look, we could just buy up all of these big league ball players and they'll all follow us for basically under, everything you've said, we're still under $1,000 pretty easily.
Trout, $4,100.
That was the biggest one. Trout, if you want Trout to follow you, you got to still drop.
Vladdy sold for $3,600 and also sold for $1,500.
Jeez.
So maybe
Came
not
a lot
paid.
less.
And Soto's already had one, $655. Same thing with Julio, $620.
I wonder if the Juan Soto goes up now with the New York.
I think it goes for
Attachment.
less since there's already been one.
True, but you've got Mets fans who are going to probably clamor for that one too. New York fans. Did he have one as a Yankee? or is just
It's a
Padres?
Yankee.
It's a Yankee one. Okay.
Is that Chris Bryant?
Oh no, it says Padres and
Padres.
Yankees. It
Oh,
says
that's interesting.
he's shown. Yeah, Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant sold for $655, or at least was trying to be sold.
Chris
For
Bryant should have been like, should have stayed with the Giants.
I mean, I guess the market is determining these. There's not a lot of utility because it's nothing promised other than just a follow. You're not guaranteed to talk to them. You'll have a better way to DM them this way, but because they're following you. But interesting. So, anything else to add to the Series 1?
I wonder, the funny thing is that what if somebody bought that and they're like not a fan? Actually, quite the opposite. And they just buy it to troll that athlete and just put nothing, like post nothing, nothing but trolling that athlete.
Like,
so that
look at
athlete
this
just,
guy's
that
stats
athlete gets
suck.
nothing but like just garbage about them.
You just become like the guy from Happy Gilmore. You suck. Spending. So I just spent $5,000 just to be top of every post. Hey, Chuck, you suck.
Getting this algorithm. Before we move on from Series 1, we've got Topps just dropped this. Welcome to the club. 3-time MVP Shohei Ohtani's got a set similar to his 50-50 set, sold directly on Topps.com. I believe the boxes were $160 through Topps. Is that correct?
Yeah, $160.
With chances of dual autographs of our guy Barry Bonds, and also all of the 3 times MVPs in the history of baseball.
So the description on the website was every player who's ever won at least 3 or more MVPs is included in this product, including dual auto subjects with Ohtani. I don't know all of the dual auto subjects. They showed the Bonds Ohtani, Trout Ohtani, and then the cut auto Mantle and Ohtani. But they also says there are cut autos of every 3-time MVP. So we're looking at Yogi Berra, Roy Campanella, Jimmy Fox, Mickey Mantle, some really big cut autos. On top of, you've got Bonds in there pretty heavily, Trout, DiMaggio cut autos would also be in there. It's a good list of guys. Mike Schmidt's in there. I think we were all kind of joking. No disrespect to the great Mike Schmidt. Maybe the greatest third baseman to ever do it. Might be a few more Mike Schmidts than some of the other guys. But,
Yeah, if we had to value their autographs. Unfortunately, Mr. Mike Schmidt, no problem of his own, but signed a lot of autographs because he wants his fans to have his autograph.
Be thrilled to have a
Absolutely.
Michael Jack Schmidt autograph. He's a great ball player. It's a cool set. The moment I saw that Bonds Ohtani, I had to grab a box for myself. So
I know, I missed out.
I got one, and from the wording of their description, it makes it sound like this is the beginning of a new set that will not just focus on baseball. It sounds like it's like highlighting great moment. Like I'll get the exact. I think I have it written down. The exact wording was commemorates the game's greatest athletes joining the sporting world's most exclusive clubs. So we're starting with Ohtani, but I think you could see a future where, like, I don't know how they could do it. Let's just say they're able to do this. Mahomes wins another Super Bowl. He now joins the elite club of 4-time Super Bowl champions. And then you're like, Mahomes now. Welcome to the club, Patrick Mahomes. And you've got him, Brady, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, and you could throw in other guys who have won, Jerry Rice, other guys who have won 4 Super Bowls. You could do something like that. So it's cool potential. But it also sounds like the chances to pull autos out of this are insanely hard.
Yeah,
Cool
I mean,
product.
what do you think, Dan? Putting out another product, do we like the creativity of it, or do we think that it's just not necessary?
My honest answer?
You can sugarcoat it if you want.
Not. I mean, it's cool, I guess. It's not necessary. Nothing is necessary, but yeah, I mean, it's just another Topps online exclusive. It's a money maker. It works. They're in the business of making money, so they might as well keep on trying to do it. And,
When Topps,
I don't think this is going to be a product where we're all just like, oh, we need some. Like, we need to get some. Like, people are asking for it for breaks. No, it's a glorified Topps now.
it's a direct-to-consumer product.
It's a direct-to-consumer product. It is what it is. Good for them. I mean, the formula is working, so keep on rocking the formula.
How many more products do you think they're making now that Fanatics is at the helm for these type of releases? Then is it 5 times the amount, 10 times the amount, compared to like 2020 when we just had Tops Now? Project, what was that? Project
2020.
Project 2020, which ran for a while and it was all the rage for a while. I feel like that's all they had, right? There was just the Tops Now cards, Project 2020.
I also feel there was a lot less Tops Now cards. Like now I feel like there's a Tops Now card for everything. I really feel
every single moment.
every moment.
There was a big one when Jaden Daniels they beat the Lions and they did like, here it is, 1 of 1, Nike swoosh, Jaden Daniels. And it was
Again, they wouldn't be doing it if the formula wasn't working.
No, it's the thing is every time they do this, everybody on social media talks about it, whether they love it or hate it, and it sells out. Or they say like, well, we just set a record for football cards for Tops Now. Well, we just set a print record like every single time when it's one of these that obviously are really, really big.
Well, and something that everybody's talking about. Oh, I know this happened last week, but it was right after we did the hype on Monday. The Paul Skenes MLB debut patch has been pulled, and I know most of you guys already know that. And it was pulled by a 11-year-old. In Los Angeles, and that was the report. And I'm going to put this through a couple lenses here, so don't hate me on one of the lenses I put it in. But this was pulled apparently by an 11-year-old. We went a day or two without any other news about it. And then a 3-page journal was written by the 11-year-old about how he received it on Christmas. He had wanted it when it came out, but his parents didn't get him one. He was really sad. And then, Christmas came and it was under the tree and he was really happy that he got it. And it was like 3 packs in, he pulls the card and his dad screams, "Let's go." And
Is this really how it went down?
that's what it says in the handwritten handwritten article.
The old "Let's go."
Dad said, "Let's go."
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
The rest is history. The card pops up January 20th-ish, 20th, 15th. Basically, about 3 weeks after it was pulled. It was then in the news. So you're getting collectors. You're having the one opinion of, well, the kid doesn't want to be put on social media. He's an 11-year-old, and I'm a father, and I am. I don't want my kid to be on social media. I get it. And then there's the other collector side that say, this thing sounds a little fishy because of the way that this came out. The handwritten letter, the fact that the card is now going to Fanatics Collect. So there's a lot to dissect here. Jared Blez came out with an article or came out with a video on his personal from Blez Sports Cards, and he says the hobby should be ashamed of themselves to think anything other than that the kid actually got this card himself. And I know I'm going on a rant here, but I think the way that it's perceived is before all of this, we had Topps, and we had Panini, and we had Upper Deck, and we had Leaf. Fanatics has taken over. Fanatics buys Topps. Fanatics will have the MLB license or NBA license. They will have the NFL license coming up. To compete with Whatnot, they started Fanatics Live. So they have their hand in every single pot, including Fanatics Collect, which was PWCC, which was purchased by Fanatics. So what I'm thinking is a lot of collectors are fatigued at hearing these breaker stories. Well, now the breakers are on Fanatics Live. So that is Topps' breaking platform. That's Fanatics' breaking platform. Oh, this breaker pulled this. Of course they did. All the breakers get all of the big stuff. All the breakers get the big. So there's like this negative cloud of this hobby about all this because of this takeover that I think when something comes out that is, in fact, true and organic, yes, you got the hobby questioning it because of all the other questions that surround it. Is that fair to say? Do you guys know where I'm coming from on this?
I get it.
That I think it's like, if this, in fact, 11-year-old did get this card and went through this process and went with Fanatics Collect, and John Boy promoted it, and Pirates promoted it, and MLB promoted it, that it's almost too good of a story to be true, and they're doing this because of all the backlash of the breakers getting all the big cards. That's what some of the hobby community is saying. And I think some of these people are right in questioning this. But also, if it's an 11-year-old kid and he wants to be anonymous, that's true too. But he can't be anonymous when he gets paid either. Somebody's gonna have to pay somebody.
Somebody's getting that $10.99 from Fanatics Collect.
Yes. Somebody's
paying those capital gains taxes.
But what do you know? There's a lot I just spewed out there, guys. I mean,
that was a lot. I got. Let's see. What did I get out of that? I got big pie. Fanatics is hungry. They like eating.
Yep.
So I got that. Seriously though, if it theoretically did come from a hobby shop, and we don't know, like, would the industry feel a little bit better if maybe the parent came out and said, "Hey, this is what happened. Like,
we got it from Bob's.
We got it from Bill's Hobby Shop in Southern California, and we went in there, put the box underneath the tree, kid opened it up, and this is essentially what happened. And we basically decided to send it to Fanatics Collect, get it PSA, like whatever. Like, they walked us through everything.
So you think that one tidbit of a shop would definitely help the narrative?
Yeah, and I also
I
also believe that we sit here and talk, and Fanatics talks about it as well, is that we're trying to build up the hobby shops, We're trying to make it a community. We're trying to build the community around the hobby shops. Well, there's no better build-up than to have the press of pulling this from a hobby shop to build up the community of the hobby shops, which we completely neglected in the story. I can tell you right now, owning a hobby shop, the hobby shop did not come out and say, we want to be anonymous. We don't want any of this press. We don't want people coming into our shop and buying more Topps Chrome update. We don't want that. Out of here with that.
Well, it's just like the liquor stores when somebody wins the lottery, right? They post $500,000 winner.
No. You go to, I mean, I've been in liquor stores where they post like $150 scratchers. They're just like, look, it's a chance.
Do we know how it was purchased? I didn't. Did it say in the journal entry? I don't remember.
Would we be shining too much light? Like,
because here's the
industry and the hobby would break if the person came out and said, well, I just bought it directly from Topps.com.
That's to me where I think that's probably where it was bought, is what I'm starting to think.
And then you basically open up a whole other can of worms of conspiracies.
But I don't think the timeline adds up based on when he bought it. I don't think it was available on Topps beyond like a month.
I mean, I get with the parents wanting their child to be anonymous. I would probably fall in that camp as well.
Me too.
Not going to be like, let's make this into a thing. But I wouldn't have a problem coming out and just connecting the dots and giving the extra details to the hobby community on how this transpired.
Yeah.
Even if they were like, I bought it from Blowout, I bought it from DA, I bought it from Steel City, I bought it from a local card shop,
at least I
bought it from Topps.com, just anything.
Right. We could connect the dots a little more.
Yeah.
It would be, I think, reassuring, especially because I think there's a part of a lot of collectors that are like, there have been numerous stories of some shady dealings, whether it be from a breaker where it's like, I didn't get that card and I should have, and it was a huge card, or the whole we've been duped thing, a few years ago. Like, so I think there is this like very healthy amount of skepticism that a lot of people who are following this day in and day out or really involved in this hobby have about this stuff. And that's, I think, completely reasonable. And you should have a little bit of skepticism and to at least suss out the weird stuff and the stuff that doesn't sit well. But yeah, kind of to reiterate your guys' point, like if this is my son, I'm like, don't just throw yourself out there to the wolves here. Like, if you want to put your name out there, like 11 years old is enough where I might be like, you might have, like, you're old enough to be like, if you really want to do this, I'm going to have a sit down with you and be like, this is what's going to happen. Not only are you going to get comments online and all this stuff of like, you're fake, blah, blah, blah. It's also going to be like every media outlet ESPN's gonna come knocking at the door. The local news is gonna come knocking at the door. Everybody is gonna want to talk to you. So I get it from that perspective. The other thing, the journal. I saw a lot of people digging in on like, who writes a journal? What kid writes a journal?
Well, and I was
in
just
2025. And let me just defend him by saying, how many did we all in school? We'd come back from either Christmas vacation or summer vacation. What was like the number one day one thing you did when you came back? What I did on blank vacation, what I did on winter vacation. How
You mean for like a school assignment?
for school? So
Not-
I think something got lost in
not
translation.
for personal reflection.
Exactly.
I had a personal journal, but then again,
Sure.
I didn't have the internet either. So
Right.
I mean, I could have.
I was gonna say,
I could have
sorry to-
vlogged it if it was a modern day version.
Sorry
Yeah,
if
I'm pretty sure that with like modern day tablets, you probably would have turned in your journal for some games on a tablet.
Right. There's that too. So, not to, sorry if this is creating any scars, Doug, but yeah, we're not all Doug funny. Be like, dear journal, I love patty mayonnaise. Like, no one's doing that as much anymore.
Dude,
but like,
he doesn't like that.
but like, yeah, trust me, I know. I didn't, like I said,
I think in
didn't
that
wanna-
journal I said screw Doug Funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Over and over again.
I didn't want to expose anything, but yeah, but
It's
like
not even a
him-
funny cartoon.
But like, yeah, that being, I think that's all it is. It just got lost in translation. I bet that's what that is that day one he comes back and it's like, what happened during Christmas? Oh, I just pulled the biggest baseball card of the year. That's all. And yeah, what kid wouldn't?
Well, I mean, people point out the fact there was nothing written on the back of that journal entry either. Like it was his first one. It was the middle of the book. That's fair. The way it starts too is it was November 13th, 2024, and Topps had released 2024 Chrome update. It was $200, which was a lot, but considering the players and rookies, it was fair.
I think
it's fine.
just giving you a little idea of what the market is. So
yeah, I think
basically,
it's fine.
so next time Topps Chrome update comes out, you better buy it early.
Here's the other
because
thing, too.
because little Johnny has shown time and time again that the product will go up in value.
Here's the other thing I'll throw out of all like, oh, it sounds like a little too grown up sometimes. But I'm like, 11-year-olds now are not like 11-year-olds from like when I was 11. Like I think there was still like we were kids for a little longer. We were innocent for a little longer. Maybe that's just me kind of like projecting. But I think like there's so much more exposure to the world via iPads and the internet and everything, even more so than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I think like kids are just a little more hip on that.
So there he goes. I started begging my mom.
We saw shows, the kids like 8-year-olds being like, "What's your comps, bro?" He's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like that's what we see.
I had a kid at
shows.
the Fanatic Fest beat me down.
Yeah, like we see that at shows.
Yeah, it's all on the internet. So
Yeah,
it could be
it's
sucking it in. I started begging my mom for it for Christmas. Dad was at work, and my mom was leaving soon. Me and my mom left for school, and two new people would I knew people would raise the price. So I went into full beg mode. My mom said she'd get it, victory in parentheses, but her work was so busy she forgot to get it. When my parents got home, I was super sad, but they said the prices would drop at Black Friday. Fast forward to Black Friday, the prices did not drop, all in parentheses, all in capitals. Infinite rage. 1 sec. So now the box was like $350. They said I would have to get something else. I said, okay, but they said they could tell I was sad. Very, very, very sad. When I was at school, they found a hobby box for $320, which is still a ton, but since they are awesome, they got the box. They told me when I got home from school, and I was so excited. Fast forward to Christmas. First, I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I woke my brother. Whoops. We waited till 6:30 a.m. and we woke up our parents. The first present we opened was the hobby box, and my brothers got a big Lego. I opened 3 packs and got some cool cards. Then we passed around some more presents. I opened 2 more packs, and on the second pack, I got the Paul Skenes redemption card. I quote, "Hey, Dad, I pulled the Paul Skenes redemption card." He was like, "No, you didn't." Then I showed him the card, and Me and my brother, my dad, were like, oh my God. My mom was very excited too, but she never collected cards, so she didn't know what it meant. Then my brain pooped, and I started bouncing all over the place. And my dad was like, let's go. I was so excited, but first we went to one of our grandparents' house and hung out with them and our uncles and aunties. I am 11 years old, so pulling this card is a dream come true.
Grandma and Grandpa, kind of a buzzkill. Like, let the kid enjoy the card. Like, sorry, Grandma and Grandpa, we're not coming.
I know.
Gotta enjoy this. Gotta celebrate.
We're popping that Marinelli's.
That's great. It's a great story.
Yeah. Hey, I'm inclined to believe it. I want to believe.
I want
to
to
believe.
I want to believe.
I want to believe in something that is like
Magical.
It's I want to believe in magic.
I want to believe in magic.
I want to believe in this is just a night. Like, what I hope and pray is that because I did see the Pirates owner did come out, I think today or over the weekend.
Yep.
And said, hey, totally get it. This kid doesn't live in Pittsburgh. Would have been a crazy offer to take. But we invite him to come out with his family to meet Paul, to meet the Pirates, to meet the team when we're in the Los Angeles area. Or we can fly him out to Pittsburgh and have him watch a game. Either way, I think we are going to eventually see this kid and the family and stuff. And then
they'll just put like a smiley face over his face and put him over.
I mean, I've
seen it on the internet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, for
People
sure.
and their kids, they put little smiley faces on top of them.
But if he's going to be like visiting the team, they're going to be like, dude, you're going to be in front of the camera here, and that's fine. But at that point, and maybe, they're kind of doing the math, like things will have cooled off a lot. We will have moved on to a different story.
I love my favorite phrase on the internets after this is purchased, like somebody, and it's like clockwork. It's like clockwork with every single big card. It's like, well, great. Doesn't look like I'm going to be buying any of that now. Great. I'm no update Chrome for me now because the card's been pulled. Product's dead.
Jackson Merrill hasn't been pulled, right?
Well, you weren't going to pull it anyway.
Jackson Merrill.
You're going to pull it anyway. There's only one of them.
Right.
Only one.
Wasn't going to happen.
Wasn't going to happen.
No. Jackson Merrill ain't chopped liver.
But the product, the price of the product has gone down.
But
based on one card.
So you're telling me it's a good buy?
I think the fact that
it's a great buy.
I think the fact that this product went up, I don't believe that Topps sold it at a higher price either. So that means he did not get it from Topps.com. Because Topps.com would be the $200 price.
True.
$320 would be more like an LCS or a Blowout or a DA or some online retailer. Mm-hmm. Maybe an eBay seller. Who knows? But
what if they come out and they're like, I bought it from Mojobreakshop.com?
Oh, God.
We'll be like, you better believe it, buddy. Mojobreak Shop. We only pull Paul Skenes.
Why didn't you say that before we did the episode? Right. We would have gladly said that this is the greatest story I've ever heard.
We love this guy. We love everything. I was going to mention, you already said it. I think to me, the whole stuff about the kid is like, and everybody having a theory and stuff. Like, again, I'm inclined to believe it's true. To me, is more of a distraction of like Dan was saying, like, Fanatics there's a big old pie, and Fanatics is eating a lot of it. And if there's an argument to be made.
They just have it. They have a really healthy appetite.
They do, and the fact that from the manufacturing of the card to the exchange, I mean, PSA is the one time it's out of their hands, but even then, it's kind of like, is it though? Like, especially getting the 10-10 and all that, and then going straight to Fanatics.
It was probably still an advantage point. They probably still had eyes on it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then it goes to Fanatics Collect. That's where I'm like, this was something I think when we talked about a few years ago, what is this future of Fanatics and Topps in this hobby? And it's this, where they control almost every single part of the puzzle.
I mean,
when it comes to
but if you, I mean,
cards.
So it sounds like these people knew about this card because the way that the dad reacted.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So,
big.
I'm not claiming they're experts like us or people that join our breaks or that people have been following us for a long time. Why not Golden? That's my question.
Because I guarantee this is because from it being a redemption, they had to call Topps and Fanatics. They had to call Fanatics.
Now,
and then, hey, you know what? we're just going to send this straight over to PSA. And if you take this deal with Fanatics Collect, we'll cover all of the costs. Like, you don't have to pay anything. We're going to cover the cost of posting, of getting it graded and then going up for auction. All of that will be covered. And then whatever it sells for.
So the white glove service
right.
outweighs that Golden has sold higher end cards.
All of those fees, don't worry about them. They're going to just be taken. That chunk is going to be taken out from whatever the card sells for that you're going to end up with. So don't worry about it. We'll handle it.
Or was there a guarantee that was given?
Probably that too. I mean, they were, like I said,
because honestly, like that card goes to Golden. I think we all will be in agreement here that probably gets more than going to auction on Fanatics
100%.
Collect.
100%.
Right? Golden has a Rolodex of substantial high roller, high spinner, high people who are willing to drop high dollar amounts for cards and collectibles.
Yes.
That nobody else has access to.
Maybe this is the conspiracy of like it just literally was never going to go to Golden under any circumstances.
And he came out and said he was never able to get in touch with this person.
That part of it was, hey, you pulled it. It's a redemption. If you want, either you take the deal with the Pirates, you just keep that card. I mean, I don't know. They probably were like, don't keep, or they probably didn't even start with that one. They're like, or you just go through Fanatics Collect. It'll just end up with us. Or who knows? I don't know. Then maybe to me, that's like, if you want to go with like, there's something weird happening, it's like they may have just been like, it's either us or nobody to bid on this card.
Like we're not going to ship it to you.
Because what better way to hype up this brand new thing they've got than to be like, the card that literally everybody talked about, even people that don't know anything about cards.
It's
on our bidding platform.
You gotta have high dollar cards to build up those high those high spenders, right?
And what better way than the most talked about card of the year?
But what do you think that card sells for?
That I think I asked folks online. Actually, you know what? Let's see what the people said, because I
let the people speak.
We let the people speak.
So what do you think that card does at auction, and what do you think that card does if it goes to Golden?
I think regardless.
Well, hey, what about this plot twist? What if Golden buys it and puts it on his platform?
That would be very funny if that were to happen. I think it's in the 100 to 250 range.
Huh?
200.
It's gotta be $1 million card.
Weren't we throwing around $1 million?
No. I'm saying K, not $1 million, not $200. $200K. $250K.
Oh, I didn't think you were saying $200.
No.
This isn't.
No, I thought this was $1 million card.
This isn't a Blake Snell follow back card we're talking about.
I think it's in the 200 to 250K.
Oh, I thought it was $1 million.
I thought it was $1 million.
You
think it's $1 million?
I thought it was $1 million.
Here, let's see what wow. Okay. I had this 72 votes that I put this out. 4% said 50K or less. No, absolutely not. Minimum six figures. 100K or less, I had 11% of the vote. 500K or less, 35% of the vote. But 50% said in the million or less.
Yeah,
that's what I would think.
I don't know. Maybe I'm totally underselling it.
Aren't you the
I'm usually the year of the pitcher guy.
Aren't you the pitcher guy?
I'm usually the year of the pitcher guy, and for some reason,
and that's why
it's holding me back.
It's a huge win for Fanatics Collect to get this card to go for $1 million. So it sets the precedent, and it sets the question of, do I send it to Golden or do I send it to Fanatics Collect?
Yes.
Because the only thing I know.
So you don't think this card sells for less than $1 million?
No.
I still don't think it reaches the $1 million mark. It's just like
I think it goes for over $1 million.
Well, we'll know come what? April? It's going to be a 30-day auction in March.
Yep.
So March to April.
How many cards since in the last 2 years? That's something I should have looked up. How many cards in the last 2 years have gone to $1 million?
I guarantee 90% would probably be Golden. I think the biggest sale on Fanatics Collect was some of those Wemby.
Yeah.
The Wemby Mercury stuff, which I think some of them were six figures. I think one of them was at least like 120,000. So they get this feather in their cap. Like I said, I mean, Ken's probably pissed because he didn't even get a chance to. Ken would have came in with probably like $1 million guarantee just to get the card.
Yeah, I'll lock in my guess at 400K. How about that? I'll go a little higher. 400K is my locked in guess.
I don't think Not even close.
Way past it.
I think this goes way past
And
it.
I'm only saying that because I feel like I've gone way over on a lot of predictions recently. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be under on this one.
I'm not a buyer. So
No.
I do want that freaking Barry Bonds 1960 superfractor that was pulled, though.
Yeah.
I want that one.
From
Giants
Transcendent,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I want that one.
Those are really nice looking cards. Really
Before we run out of time, let's talk Super Bowl. I mean, we've got the rematch from a couple years ago, Eagles versus Chiefs. Mahomes trying to cement his legacy on the QB Mount Rushmore. Are we going to start? Should we start off with predictions on who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I mean, we kind of talked. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Chiefs. I think the only way it happens with the Eagles, and it's how they've been winning, is they just have to establish the run and establish Saquon Barkley early on. If they can do that, if Saquon is held to 100 yards, if Saquon is held to like 80 yards, like a fine game, 80, 90 yards, they're losing this game.
No, I think Saquon goes well over 100.
Yeah.
I still think they lose.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I think Saquon would have to have like a game he had against the Rams. I think he needs like a 250 or 300 yard game, like just insane.
It kind of reminds me of that Boise State running back, like in their playoff game. It was like his worst game of the year. He had like 110 yards in the game. Like I could see that happening for Saquon, where it's like he still puts up like 95 yards and a touchdown.
They're going to make him,
but they're like they contained him.
Stack them.
Yeah,
they're going to stack the box.
Yeah, I don't think they're. I mean, if they're smart, they're going to make Jalen Hurts beat them. And
that's what they.
And I think he can. But it's going to be a tall task. I mean, they have the talent on their team to make it happen. They have the best offensive line. You could make the argument, the best 1-2 punch when it comes to receivers in the league with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Got a solid tight end.
All the weapons.
And the best running back. So they have the talent to do it. But I would never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Ever.
When the lights are the brightest, that guy just makes it happen, and he wins.
Is he on your Mount Rushmore, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
Of quarterbacks?
Oh, yeah.
All right, who's your Mount Rushmore quarterback?
Him,
at that one.
Jim Everett, Kurt Warner, Tony Banks.
Okay.
And
Patrick Mahomes.
And Patrick Mahomes.
Not Stafford?
No, well, I mean, Tony Banks is pretty good. Nobody... He had the record for most fumbles in a season, and that's hard to do. Hard to fumble that much.
Rams great there. Start with Cody. Is Patrick Mahomes already the best quarterback on the Mount Rushmore not named Tom Brady?
Not yet. If he wins...
What, Montana?
We were talking about this a little off here. And again, this is Niner bias.
Of course it is.
I get it. But I think that the undefeated and not just undefeated, but perfect in the Super Bowl has to count for something. 4-0, never threw a pick in the Super Bowl. It counts for something to me.
I think for me, it's I did the same thing with Brady.
Yeah.
Once he gets more Super Bowls,
right. Then it became even.
So he'll tie him this year.
Yeah,
gets another one. All right, he's number 2.
That's where I'm like, if he wins this one, I'm probably like, no.
Still
Mahomes is probably the guy. No, he's number 2.
That's where he's got to get 5 for me. You get 4.
Yeah,
he's tied with him. I
think by the end of the decade, we're 5 years away.
Right,
he is going to have the most Super Bowls ever.
So he's gonna go 7 in a row.
He may never. There may never be another Super Bowl in our lifetime that doesn't have Patrick Mahomes in it.
It feels
Prove
like
me otherwise.
It sure feels like it. Watch, he like retires like, oh, thank God. It's over. The new head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
no, God,
yeah.
No.
Then he becomes the greatest coach of all time. He goes 30, 40 years,
God.
just maybe never lose a game.
That's probably what's going to happen. And it'll also be now Tom Brady as the Raiders, basically the guy dictating the culture for the Las Vegas Raiders. Probably same thing's going to happen, where he's going to be like, oh, yeah, Raiders now are just going to win. because that's what they do.
I don't know. Does Patrick Mahomes go his first decade? So we're what,
He's
7
29
we're
years
7
old
years
now.
in.
Yeah.
But
We're
the
almost
first
there, yeah.
decade of his career, does he make it to the AFC Championship game every year? Does he go a decade?
Good Lord.
I don't think he makes it next year. I think the three-peat happens. That was what they're pushing for. You got the three-peat. What else is there? I mean, yeah, you can be the first one to 4. You can be the first one to 5. I think that
Somebody has to knock them off, though.
That's the thing. Someone has to knock them off. And yeah, I guess like I'm never going to count them out, but there is part of me that's like, that there was a big break between the Brady and Patriots Super Bowls. Like there was a big, those first 3 were won, 3 out of 4 years. Then a couple of appearances, but there wasn't wins. Like it kind of was like, well, the Patriots dynasty is over.
They did make the playoffs every
Right.
year.
And they made it, and like I said, they made a few in the middle of all that is the undefeated season. So I wouldn't having those types of seasons still, they're going to be consistently winners. But maybe we get that sort of gulf between those. That's what made Brady so incredible, is that he had literally 2 halves of a career that each were Hall of Fame careers. That's what Mahomes needs to do to match Brady, which is an insane task, but yet we are on that right path right now, which is just.
I've got another question for you guys. So, we're talking about Mount Rushmore, but I want to bring this back to the hobby because there's different eras of the hobby. I think Montana is arguably in the vintage era. Montana's rookie, it's same one. Just the only thing that separates it is the grade. I want to call this the one-of-one era because there's not a one-of-one for LeBron. There's not a one-of-one rookie. There is some RPAs. I think we have 2 that stand alone in the hobby when you look at all sports. I think it's literally Mahomes and it's Steph Curry in the era that we're in now, right? Can anybody make any other guys can jump into that? In the one-on-one era, if there's 1A, 1B, or there's top 2.
Okay.
It's got to be Curry and Mahomes.
We're counting LeBron as part of Brady, basically, right?
I think so.
We kind of couple
doesn't
LeBron
have
and
as
Brady.
many he doesn't have the one-on-ones. He doesn't
Right.
have. I mean, they do have exquisite RPAs. There's a few logo mans. So he's kind of at the beginning, but I think he's just too beyond that point.
Yeah. I don't think there's. I mean,
Maybe Shohei.
I was gonna say Otani's the other guy I'd throw in there. I'd throw Otani in that as those 3 guys. Those are the guys of this era, which basically that's your early to mid 2010s to now, which we're about a 10-year period. It's been 10 years since 2015. So I think those are the 3
Hockey
guys.
would be
McDavid.
David, right?
He hasn't won a cup though,
McDavid.
where all 3 of those guys have won, and McDavid hasn't.
And then what about soccer? Like maybe Messi or Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Mbappe?
Mbappe, probably more Mbappe because Messi, Ronaldo could be in the same category as Brady.
Yeah, they're kind of in the Brady and LeBron era. Yeah, I guess it would be those guys. But I think the 3 that feel like the foundation of that are the guys that we mentioned. It's Mahomes, it's Curry, it's Otani. And in terms of hobby love, I think it's Mahomes by a pretty wide margin of where he's at versus not that Curry and Otani. I mean, Otani is starting to get to a point where he's getting close. But I think Mahomes by a pretty wide margin is the most.
I mean, what's
of
best
those 2 guys.
case scenario? Curry ends with maybe 5 if he somehow gets another one, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Where Mahomes could have the potential to get 7 or 8, right? With being the age he's at. Notable QB sales. We have the Mahomes Shield that did sell in the Fantasy Times of 2021 for $4.3 million. Actually, these are all in the Fantasy Times with the exception of the Peyton Manning. Championship contenders auto Brady, $3.8 million. Joe Montana Gem 10, $114K. I have one.
I think
that
that is way undervalued. I'd probably put that Montana somewhere into 3.5 million.
Exactly.
If I had it,
Got one if you need
not that I'm a Montana fan, but I am a fan of that card.
Yeah.
That specific card. I'm a fan of that. It should be 30 times more.
And then $125K for a Skybox EX Peyton Manning, which we know those are really hard to grade. Recent Mahomes sales, $317K on a really sick patch. National Treasures RPA. $244K on a number to 25 RPA, PSA 10 on the auto and the grade. At a XRC at a 2016 select, so technically his first card. Gold, 148K. Do we think it's still a good time to buy Patrick Mahomes?
No.
You don't think so?
Man, I'm just going back into 2017, and you could have just bought those for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
That XRC in 2016, gold,
Couple $100.
that probably sold for a couple $100.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Good God.
That was probably a couple $100.
So even more reason to kind of, and then they're not $200 anymore, but to get like the Jaden Daniels, to get the Drake May, and just kind of hope that it kind of gets to this price. I think there's room because if you can get one now, granted, there's going to be a lot of people looking for one now.
Are you talking about buying a $300,000
No. I'm
card?
saying buying a Mahomes.
Are you
rookie.
trying to tell our listeners like, hey, you got an extra $300,000 burning a hole in your pocket? You should just go ahead. This is a good investment. You should go ahead and buy this.
I'm telling the 11-year-old from LA to take that Paul Skenes money and get yourself an NTRPA.
good
at
call.
Patrick Mahomes.
That
a good call.
isn't after you get your 1099, you figure out the tax situation. Then what you have left over, maybe buy some Mahomes.
Maybe enough. I'm just talking about he's got base optics. He's got the Prism PSA 10 now. I've seen one sell for like $8,000.
I'm looking. That's actually what I'm trying to find right now. Is just what is his Prism PSA 10?
But
going
we were talking about it last year. Like he won another Super Bowl, but his card prices, if anything, went down. Now the market was trending down as well.
Yeah.
What do we think happens if or when he wins a third in a row? His prices have to go up.
They should.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
would make no sense if they didn't, because I think there was maybe last year is when I actually think the Chiefs' fatigue was really at an all-time high. We just cannot deny this guy anymore. So we better start just acting like there's nothing we could do.
But I look at it and go, I mean, you look at his stats and you're like, Mahomes he didn't carry the team. Which makes it even scarier, the fact that they were the best team in the NFL without him carrying the team. Their defense was amazing. That tells me that they can go another 5, 6, 7, 8 years and just keep on doing this. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we go 15 years with the Chiefs being in the AFC Championship game every single year. I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't shock me either. Here's real quick. I have it up, eBay. These are just some recent silver, like some PSA 10.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely going up from last year. Last year was crazy to know that, like, he won back-to-back. Again, it was 6 AFC title games. It was his fourth Super Bowl.
Lost one.
Could you imagine if somehow they won that Tampa Bay Super Bowl?
Now this is the one thing that is going to, just in talking his legacy, and maybe it also kind of affects his hobby legacy, is that the losses to Brady will linger over him to a certain generation. Let's say he gets to 7 Super Bowls. He wins 7. He becomes the guy with the most titles. There are still going to be certain fans of a certain age who go, yeah, but he didn't beat Brady that one time.
Okay,
and he didn't beat Brady in the 2019.
Okay, so with that argument, you basically go, well, Eli's better. Eli's better than Tom Brady.
I don't agree with that argument.
Nick Foles and Eli Manning.
Which boy, if you were watching that at the end of the Eagles and Commanders game, they show Nick Foles and Brady actually, like, I think there's a little bit of joking. He just says, like, I'm just jealous of that guy. It's like, you have the most Super Bowls ever. What do you mean you're jealous of Nick Foles?
Well, he did have that nickname.
He genuinely believes that. Yeah, he did. That's true. He did it. Yeah, I think he genuinely is jealous that he got the best of him the one time.
Did Brady? So Brady lost 3 Super Bowls, correct?
Yep. All to
so Brady went to 10 Super Bowls. Is that correct? Because he won 7.
Yes.
Jesus Christ,
it's crazy.
That's insane.
No, I'm sorry. He's won. Yeah.
So he lost against Eli twice.
Yep.
And then
once to Nick Foles. Yep. So yeah, if let's say Mahomes beats Brady, he gets 8,
and not Jared Goff.
There will still be a certain amount of fans It's one thing though when like, oh, Brady beat Eli beat Brady twice, but it's like no, Mahomes got beat by the GOAT twice. That's I think the other why there will
And one
still
was
be
an AFC
defenders.
championship, which was Patrick Mahomes' very first full season.
Right.
Right.
And the other was, and this is going to be the Mahomes defense. One, the rookie season or his first time doing it, and two, weird year.
COVID,
The COVID year. It was a weird year. It was a weird Super Bowl. Everything about it was weird. The preparation was weird. So, and it was an awful game. Like, so you can make that argument if you want to.
And I want to
maybe
say
the
that he
outliers.
had a really bad turf toe that year too.
Yes.
he was kind of not mobile.
So you could say that's why if you want to play the defense, but
Tom Brady was like 40
Right.
something years old.
True, but he had Gronk.
I'm pretty sure Tom Brady was pretty banged up at that point.
yeah, exactly. That's why to me I'm like, it doesn't really.
Who was it? Was that Ronald Johnson that was running for him?
Yeah.
Rojo?
And LeGarrette Blunt maybe back on that team. No,
Leonard
no.
Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette. Yep, Leonard Fournette. And then he had Mike Evans, of course,
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin,
and Gronk.
Gronk.
And then that defense.
Then they had a
Was
good
getting the band
they
back
had a
together.
they had a good defense like Levante David. They had a lot of good
yeah, like it,
a
yeah.
lot of good
So yes, you
and
can get-
Ndamukong Suh?
Possibly.
I think Sue was on that team.
So I think what Doug, what you're talking about with like if you're still a way to get in. I mean, we were just looking at
You
some
showed
of
the
those
price. I was
numbers.
gonna say, like, you don't have to spend the $244K, but I saw a good one for
There
like
was
$500-600.
there was a
bucks.
PSA optic rookie for the 2200 range or something
Yeah.
like that. So if you're like that, I know,
Still
like-
not 500.
no, it's not. It's
How
still
about
steep.
you just go out and buy some Jalen Daniels and take a
Yes.
See,
Look, I'm
Jaden
not
Daniels.
going out and buying Mahomes. I'm not saying that. But if there's someone out there who's like, I really, really want him, and if that price to you
or
is
Drake
like,
or Drake May or somebody because I think there is a chance to make a good investment on Mahomes, but the price of entry
is
going to be high.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind too is 2017 wasn't printed nearly. They didn't have as many products. They didn't have as many parallels. They didn't have as much stuff that they do now. So there should be, on especially some of these numbered prisms, numbered selects, should be a little bit less competition overall compared to like an Anthony Richardson or a Jaden Daniels. And you're getting a guy that's, even if he loses on Super Bowl Sunday, has got 3 Super Bowls. So, like, you love him or hate him. If you're a card collector, you
like
gotta
how we're
have a
talking about it.
Mahomes.
So Hurts, you can't buy Hurts right now.
It's funny. I was
it
I
just doesn't-
actually do have his numbers up. This is via Card Ladder, and like, where do we stand on Jalen Hurts? He's now been to 2 Super Bowls, more than it that talked about and much hyped 2020 class. He's the guy who's now been to 2 Super Bowls.
But he's not the guy that you want. That's
Right.
It's funny because I think everybody would be like, "Well, I'd rather have
Burrow. Of course.
or Herbert."
Yeah, I think if you were to ask,
I mean, you, of course.
yeah, I know. I would be really curious if you were to throw those 3 guys at people. Like, you can have their best card, each of those 3. I think, like, majority are like Burrow, no doubt. But then I guess it's like, okay, Herbert or Hurts. I think you would get more of a split than we would expect.
I think you would
given the
get.
track
I think you would get 70% Burrow, and maybe 20% Herbert.
I mean, you
Maybe-
should be collecting Burrow because he slayed the dragon for you. You guys would have not had a Super Bowl win if it wasn't for Joe Burrow. Seriously.
Thank you, Joey B.
Yeah, I mean, you guys would have had to run up against Mahomes, and he would have beat you just like everybody else. But Joe Burrow knocked him out in the AFC
But I can go
Championship.
to sleep at night knowing that Patrick Mahomes is not my daddy.
That's fair.
Never had a chance to meet your dad.
Here are the stats
Never had a meeting.
via Card Ladder. Goodness.
That was good.
Some of the recent sales from this is from December on of
We
Jalen
met our dad
Hurts.
twice. He whipped us.
Wasn't good.
Yeah.
Gold PSA 10 Prism Auto there for $16K. It's just the biggest recently for Jalen
13,000
Hurts.
for a cracked ice. That's crazy.
Yeah. Flawless 1 of 1 for 15K.
12 grand
On an RPA.
RPA.
Yep.
I
PSA
believe we were
9.
just talking about Josh Allen, and his was like 19, 20 grand.
Oh yeah, his is way up there. But yeah, this is where we're at with Hurts. I mean, these are obviously the best of his cards, but these same cards, of course, for
Now-
Josh Allen,
now
Patrick
Hurt-
Mahomes are
If Hurts win,
astronomical.
Eagles win, those have to go up.
They should. There's a lot more room to go up than there is for the Mahomes stuff, it feels like.
But I think the cloud will be like, well, Saquon was there.
This is the thing that's going to hang over him is that it feels like this is not the Jalen Hurts Super Bowl. It's the Saquon Barkley Super Bowl. Yes. If they win,
well, don't go out and spend money on Saquon Barkley.
No.
We know that.
No.
Running back.
Not. Again,
no.
if you've got Saquon, you need to sell this very moment. There's never been. God, I feel like every time we brought up Saquon, we've said sell.
I think you sell before the Super Bowl.
Yes. Yeah, you put it up right now. You run it for a week.
Yeah, I think we have.
So right now would be the worst time to buy Saquon.
We mentioned him halfway through the year, where I think we were like, yeah, you should probably sell him. We mentioned him near the end of the year. Yeah, you should probably sell him. We mentioned him right before the NFC Championship game, and I think we're like, you've got to sell him. Good
no
Lord.
Running backs ever sell. Right. The data's there.
So if you're still hanging on, if you defied everything we've said for the last season, now you need to sell.
Or just don't listen to it. Just hold on.
Actually, because at this point, don't listen to us. You're right. That's probably the wise
honestly,
move.
even if they win and he gets Super Bowl MVP, I don't think it's that much of a bump of where it's already at.
He's got a
Hurts or Saquon?
Saquon.
What if Hurts gets Super Bowl MVP and wins?
That's where,
maybe.
If Saquon, though, because if the Eagles win, the likelihood, I feel like.
Do we got any Hurts?
I think we do. We don't have the RPA anymore. We had the Stars and Stripes.
We had the Stars and Stripes RPA?
I remember the Stars and Stripes one.
That's fun. That's fun. I'm glad we sold that.
10K?
We actually didn't sell for that, but I think it was like 8 to 9K. I mean, it's really not that big of a bump difference.
I was going to say, right now, that's 2 out of 20 BGS 9. That's about just over 10K it sold for. So
yeah, for whatever reason, the Stars and Stripes kind of fell off over the years. It's like people don't, the newbies are like, I'd rather just have the regular one at 99. Yeah. But, well, guys, feel free to chime in. Make sure you follow us at Mojobreak_com on Twitter and Instagram, or X they call it. Make sure you use that code HoopsBBall10 to get into any basketball break at Mojobreak.com. We're breaking all the stuff, finest hoops. We may even sprinkle some NT in there. Who knows? But join the website now. Use code HoopsBBall10 to get 10% off, and we'll see you guys next week on The Hype. Peace.